Someone messaged me last week asking about which Mac Studio he should buy. The Ultra, 190 GB unified memory, the works. He wanted to run a local AI stack because he'd watched a video about OpenWeight's model and decided he was done with cloud lock-in. I asked him what he'd run on it. He didn't have an answer. He had a budget. This is the most expensive mistake in the personal AI conversation right now. Buying the substrate before knowing the workload. The substrate has 6 layers: hardware, runtime, models, memory, applications, and your workflows. Most of the videos focus on layer 1 because hardware is the most photogenic. The layer that actually matters is the bottom of the stack. What work are you actually trying to do? With what data? At what frequency? Get the bottom right, and a $1,500 Mac Mini covers most of what you need. Get the bottom wrong, and a $5,000 Mac Studio sits idle. Here's where I want to bring in a hadith, because the principle isn't about hardware at all. The Prophet ﷺ said, "No one has eaten better food than that which he eats from the work of his own hand." The Prophet of Allah, Dawood, used to eat from the work of his own hand. Sahih al-Bukhari, Hadith 2072, narrated. The Hadith introduces a concept called Kasb al-yad, the work of one's hand. Dawood, or David, was a prophet and a king, and he still made armor with his own hands rather than be fed from the treasury. The principle isn't subsistence. It's that what you build and operate yourself sits in a different category from what you rent. A personal AI computer is the same shape of question. You can rent intelligence at a metered rate from someone else's substrate, or you can run a meaningful share of it on your own. Both are legitimate. The choice should be deliberate, not defaulted. Now let me walk you through the 6 layers that I talked about earlier. Hardware, so the box, right? Mac Mini, Mac Studio, Linux Workstation. Is it a 4090, 5090, a framework laptop, an NUC, or just your MacBook that you have right now? Runtime, the engine that loads and serves the model. LM Studio is the gentlest on-ramp. Llama CPP directly is the most honest learning. There are heavier options for serious throughput, but most personal stacks don't need them. Number 3, models. The weights, right? You got your Mistral Small, you got 5.4, Gemma 3, Gemma 4, Hermes 3, there are many, many more. The question isn't which is the best, the question is which voice fits the work you actually do. A week of testing tells you more than a year of benchmarks. Memory, what the model knows about you across the sessions. Embeddings, a vector store, a node slate. Without this, every session is a goldfish mode. 5, applications, the products you actually open. A chat UI, a coding tool, a CLI harness. And lastly, workflows, the work you do with the stack, the thing the other 5 layers exist to serve. Most people buy from top down. They buy hardware first, workflows last. The buying rule reverses it. Workflows first, then hardware last. Here's the question to start you with. Before you spend even $1, list the 5 to 8 tasks you actually do every week where AI helps. Be very specific, not just writing, but drafting client from proposal from CRM notes. Not coding, but writing TypeScript with type-aware autocomplete. Not research, but summarizing PDFs into structured briefs. Now, classify each task on 4 dimensions. Privacy. Does this involve data that should not leave your machine? Client materials, health information, Waqf donor records, draft community policies, anything under NDA, all of these favor local strongly. Frequency. Is it daily, weekly, occasionally? High frequency favors local because cloud inference is metered and local is unmetered after the hardware is bought. Number 3, capability. Does this need a frontier model, or can a strong open weight handle it? Summarization, extraction, classification, transcriptions, embedding, autocomplete, drafting. Most of these don't need frontier. Complex multi-step reasoning over very long context still does. Cost. What are you paying per month for this task right now? Would local meaningfully reduce it? The output of this exercise is a routing map. Some tasks belong local, some belong cloud, some are hybrid. For a typical builder doing community infrastructure work, the routing usually looks like 60 to 70% local once you actually count. Now I want to be honest about something. I don't run a fully local stack today. Most of my inference still goes to the cloud APIs because the work I'm doing leans frontier. But I've spent enough time helping builders shape theirs that I can tell you what I'd expect if you handed me your routing map and asked me to draw the box. So, for someone doing community infrastructure work, donation flows, your group bots, Dawa content, Waqf tooling, the shape converges around the same recipe. A used or refurbished Apple Silicon box with 64 gigabytes unified memory will cover the realistic ceiling for the next 2 years. The mistake to avoid is buying for the model that you read about on Hacker News. Buy for the model you're actually going to call 10 times a day. Pick one runtime, stay there for 6 weeks, graduate to a heavier serving runtime when batch throughput actually becomes the bottleneck. Most personal stacks never get there. One general purpose mid-size model for drafting, summarizing, extraction. One small embedding model for retrievals. Add a reasoning tuned model only after you found a workflow that actually demands it. For memory, start with the files. Mark down nodes in a version directory. Index with SQLite and a local vector extension. No managed vector database. No cloud sync. No orchestration framework you have to learn before you can even use any of that. Complexity is a tax on a system you maintain alone. Now, for application, there are like 3 apps, maybe, not 30. A harness for evaluated work, a chat surface for exploratory work, an editor extension if your daily workflow is coding. Now, the build budget for that recipe lands somewhere between $1,500 and $3,000, right? The cloud bill drops from real money to coffee money. The privacy improvement doesn't have a number on it, but it's the thing that matters most for community work. Now, I want to spend a minute on what I've been building because MMCLI tool was built with a property that's relevant here. Now, the auth layer is provider agnostic. You can run the same skill on a cloud frontier model or on a local VLLM or an Olama. Just swap the model flag and base URL. The harness doesn't care where the model lives. That's Kasb al-yad applied to infrastructure. The harness is the work of your own hand. The model is a substrate that you can swap. Build the layer you own to be portable, and the layer you rent stops being a lock-in, right? Now, I want to address why this matters specifically for Muslim builders. For Muslim technologists who are building community infrastructure, donation platforms, Waqf registries, dawah tools, halal commerce, you know, everything. Sovereignty isn't really a preference. It's sort of a constraint. Cloud AI providers can change content policies in ways that conflict with Islamic ethics. They can be platform applications that touch sensitive religious content. They can shift pricing in ways that destroy the unit economics of a community-funded product. They can be subject to subpoenas, sanctions, or jurisdictional changes that affect what data across what border. Now, local first AI stack doesn't eliminate the cloud. Frontier models still belong to the cloud for the work that genuinely needs them, but it shifts the proportion. 60 to 70% of work that runs locally is work no platform can take away from you. For the Ummah's technological infrastructure to be durable, the substrate has to be partly yours, not ideologically, practically. Files that we control, weights that we host, harnesses that we wrote, skills we evaluate ourselves. The cloud is a partner, not a parent. All right, now the buying rule. Buy the smallest hardware that can run the largest model your routing map calls for. Not the largest hardware, not the trendiest model, the smallest box that handles your actual workload at your actual frequency. For most builders, that's a Mac Mini class machine or equivalent Linux workstation. For very few, it's a studio. For almost no one, it is a multi-GPU rig. Then add layers in this order, not the reverse. Step 1. Workflows. Write down your weekly tasks and classify them: privacy, frequency, capability, cost. Step 2. Your routing map. Decide which tasks are local, which are cloud, and which can be hybrid. Step 3. Your models. Pick one general purpose open weight model, one embedding model, Add a reasoning model only if your routing map shows you actually need one. Step 4, the runtime. Pick one. Don't add a second one until you've hit a concrete limit with the first. Step number 5, memory and applications. Start with the files and the chat UI. Add a vector layer only when a flat file retrieval breaks. Step 6, hardware. Buy the box that runs the model your routing map called for. If your existing machine can do it, don't buy anything else yet. Hardware is step 6, not step 1. That's the whole rule. Buying hardware first is how the $5,000 mistake happens. Buying it last is how the $1,500 successes happen. The substrate matters here because it carries the value. What you own and operate yourself sits in a different category from what you actually rent. That doesn't mean rent nothing. It means rent deliberately and own the parts that need to be yours. So, what's the most frequent, most private workflow on your weekly list? The link to the Substack write-up is in the description. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.